Hi, I'm here at Bridal Parlour in Shiloh, Illinois with the owner, Heather Kraft, and today we're looking at wedding attire. So Heather, tell us a little bit about how you got started in this business.
Okay, so I started about 10 years ago when I was getting my master's degree for mental health counseling. While I was doing that, I started working with a bridal shop out there in South Carolina. And when I was working there, I actually got married. So I moved to St. Louis, and when I transferred over, I told my husband that my biggest dream was to own a bridal shop, but I really needed to get the knowledge of what everybody needed out here. So while I was working out here in St. Louis, I started realizing that there was a huge need for unique and modern and indie kind of style of gowns, and so that's what we started building for.
Awesome. The process of choosing what you're going to wear for your wedding can be a little intimidating and honestly kind of overwhelming. So we wanted to ask you, Heather, what do you think is the best way to kind of start the research process of really getting an idea of what you might like to wear for your wedding?
There is actually a ton of different resources, especially for the modern bride. We have a lot of girls who come in who love Pinterest. Also, other ways is a lot of our girls have had friends that got married. You know, look at what they wore, see what they liked or what they didn't like. You know, we've had girls that wore strapless dresses and then discovered that they didn't function so well. Right. So that sort of thing is really good too. And of course, you can always go old school and just get the old magazines. It's always fun to be able to tear out the pages and make the board.
That's fun. That's so cute. And then you also mentioned like picking out things you don't like. And I think that's interesting because people probably usually don't really think of the things they don't like. So have you noticed that's helpful when you have people come in to try on attire for weddings?
Absolutely. Sometimes a girl will come in and say, I don't know what I want. You know, the sky's the limit, honestly. And so the next thing I'll ask them, is there anything that they don't like? Is there a fabric or a cut? Because that could kind of narrow down a little bit too. But just saying, you may end up trying it anyway because what you least expect is always perfect.
Yeah, definitely. And then like you said, talking to friends or being a part of the process, watching my sister try on dresses, I was able to get an idea of what I thought I might like in years to come for when my wedding happens. So
yeah, friends are the best resource of anything because they've lived it, they've experienced, they know what worked and what didn't, and maybe just saw something that you're like, I kind of love that, or I kind of don't.
Right. So, but don't say it if you're a friend.
Never say it.
That's awesome. So along with the research process, you want to plan ahead for shopping. So you definitely want to make an appointment with your vendor so that they have the appropriate amount of time to spend with you so you can have a good experience. You also want to make sure you start the whole process early. You want to leave time for alterations or just shopping around even, so make sure you start well in advance. And then finally, don't forget to take pictures because you're not going to remember every single dress you try on, and you might see it differently looking at a photo of yourself than you do looking at it in a mirror.
Yes.
So I would love to know some of the other tips that you have for shopping and people who are picking out their wedding attire.
Okay, so typically you do want to only bring about 3 to 4 people at the top. So, you know, bring your mom, bring your sister, bring your bestie. After that, it becomes so many opinions that you kind of lose yourself in trying to please everybody. And really, the day's about you. So you want it to really reflect your personality. I usually tell our brides, you want your wedding gown to look like if somebody sat down and said, I'm going to draw your personality as a garment of fabric.
I love that.
That's what you want. So, you know, you want it to be a reflection of you. So, and sometimes girls are like, well, I want it to be a little bit more. And I'm like, that's fine. Go a little outside the box, but don't go so far outside the box. You don't want to be a mile out, but you also don't want like an inch. You want to, you know, it's your big day. So you want to make it kind of big. On the same side, if big doesn't mean flashy or sparkly. Maybe for you, it's a simple dress that shows your figure. So it just kind of depends on everything in that area.
So let's talk about the actual shops. Do you recommend doing a couple in a day or spreading it out over a longer period of time? How many shops should you go to?
I'd probably say 2 to 3 shops. Do not try to fit them all into one day because it is a lot of work. It's emotionally, you know, very tiring. It's physically tiring because you're getting into these dresses. There's a lot of fabric. There's a lot of buttons sometimes. So, you know, you want to give yourself a little breathing break. If you want to do multiples in the day, it's really nice to go to an appointment, go have lunch, maybe have, you know, some water or an adult beverage, whatever speaks to you, and then go to the next one and call it a day. But 2 to 3 is a really good number. In previous times, a lot of stores would just carry one designer, and so you needed to hit a lot of different stores. But now a lot of stores carry multiple designers, so you don't really need to go to a whole bunch to get a feel for how many styles you can do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice that you can hit a lot in a very small amount. Also, there is a such thing as over shopping. You know, we've seen it every day where a girl comes in, she's tried on gowns and she's like, I am just done. I want to find a dress, and I just, you know, I've loved my second dress that I tried on, and ever since it's been compared, and you know, just get the dress.
Just
you
go
know?
back and get it.
Yes, get what you love. It's like your fiance. Pictures are so good. You know, we call it the sea of white because after a while, you just remember, I tried on this white dress and it was beautiful and I can't remember anything about it.
Yes.
So you definitely want to have pictures so that you can look back and be like, oh, I love that because of the neckline or the fabric or something of that nature, or just how it made you feel.
Yes.
One of my best thoughts is you want the dress that makes you feel like your fiance does. However that is, the fuzzy wuzzies, you know, just that eye feeling, just whatever makes you happy, but you definitely want that.
Definitely the importance of pictures, because something I noticed is I have a shape to my body. So I may have liked a dress on me in one angle, but not in another angle. And somebody said to me once, if you don't like it from every angle, it's not the dress for you, because at the end of the day, you have photographers and videographers around you at every angle. So you've got to love every single piece of it.
For sure.
And there was times where I was like, if I don't love it, can I tweak it? Can I change it just a little bit? And I was able to actually customize my dress, which was very simple, but just to make it sure that I loved every single piece of it. And I think that's important too.
Yeah, and speaking of customization, just a thought, we have a lot of designers that you can mix and match tops and bottoms. So don't just accept a dress exactly as it is. If it's just a neckline or something like that, any seamstress can change it.
Awesome.
So make it your own.
Yes, I'm all for that. I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so one last tip we want to give you guys to make sure you're thinking about is the preparation before you go shopping. So you definitely want to look and feel your best. I mean, you're trying on wedding gowns, so you don't want to show up after the gym, or you don't want to roll out of bed and go. On the day, you want to look your best and feel your best. So when you're trying on the gowns, you want to feel really similar as to how you would on that big day. So a couple of tips is to maybe put on some makeup, whatever level you're comfortable. You don't have to go all out if that's not you. Make your hair look nice, whether you want an updo or leaving it down. Make sure it's easy to switch though, because you might change it depending on the dress you have on.
For sure.
But then you also have a couple of other tips as well.
So I would typically say definitely you want to wear nude seamless underwear. Usually you won't need a bra because most gowns have the corseting made in, because if you have a bra and a corset on, you're going to feel like they're up to high heavens. We just want to be comfortable here. A lot of the gowns, you do want to think that you're going to be wearing this all day, so comfy. You know, a lot of girls also love to bring heels with them, but we usually suggest don't. We have pedestals here to give you a little lift. So it's easier to get in and out of the dresses and not have to worry about straps or getting the right height.
Yeah. So I have a confession.
Okay.
I actually picked my shoes out before I ever even went dress shopping. I know.
So bad.
So I have to tell you this story is I knew already what my bridesmaids dresses were going to be, and of course they were extra. They were emerald green velvet.
Love it.
So thank you.
Love velvet.
And so we had a bridesmaid try on the dress with black shoes, nude shoes, gold shoes, and we couldn't find anything that looked good. And so I think it was my mother-in-law actually who found these velvet green pointed toe shoes. And so I was like, well, that's what everybody's wearing because that's what looks the best. And so I was like, well, I want a pair too because it'd be really cute to get a shoe picture and everyone match. And so of course I traipsed my shoes all over town with me being like, does this dress look good with my shoes?
Right, so you picked your dress based on your shoes
Yeah.
instead of vice versa.
No, I think what happened was if the shoes weren't going to work, I would have ditched them, but they were velvet green shoes, so they were going to stand out no matter what.
Exactly, and if you do have something that you love, bring them with you just to kind of see and think, I'll take a couple pictures with these.
Right.
But don't base your whole look, and also because we're all different heights, your dress may need a 2-inch, and what if you've already picked out a 4-inch heel? Yeah. You don't want to say, well, I can't do this dress because, you know, it's too short now.
Yes.
No.
Here's the thing, I have maybe 2 pictures of our feet, so if the shoes don't work, ditch the shoes. It's not as important as the attire in any name.
No one's really going to see them at all except for those 2 pictures with your photographer.
Yes, where you lift up and you're like, hey, shoes, they match.
And then you can kick them off and wear what works.
Thank you all for watching today. We hope you're able to take away some tips and tricks for your shopping experience. I know I wish I'd known a couple of these things before I started. It would have been really helpful. If you're watching this after the fact, hopefully you're able to just make a decision or improve your experience based on this knowledge. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes,
And
so
we
much fun.
love being able to learn from you and learn about other brides' experiences, so thank you.
Yes.
And don't forget to check out our previous episode right here.
See you later. Bye.